welcome to Pure Hustle Podcast. I'm Mike.
And this is Orlando, and we're on episode 473, and this is an update episode.
Yeah, that's right. And we love our update episodes because the update episode is where we get a chance to kind of share what we're doing reselling wise, the things that we've been buying, selling, flipping, our stories, all that kind of stuff. But then we also get to talk about the current events happening in the reselling world. What's the news in the reselling world? What's happening? Because there's always changes. There's new regulations, there's new policies, whether it's eBay or Amazon or Etsy or all the places that people are selling and want to know about. So we love these update episodes because it's our chance to go through those things. And then we also have our spicy, super hot bolos, the things that you should be on the lookout for. Fire. That's right. When you're at garage sales, thrift stores, Facebook Marketplace, all the places that you're sourcing, we're going to tell you what you should be on the lookout for. And if you go back, like we're on it for episode 473, and pretty much every other episode is an update episode, which means we've got well over 200 bolos, and each bolo is two, right? Because I give one, you give one. So we're talking close to 500 things that you could be on the lookout for when you're outsourcing. And so if you've been following Pure Hustle Podcast, I can't tell you how many times we have people message into us or on our Discord telling us, hey, thanks for sharing this item. Like I found one at a garage sale. I would have never thought to pick it up. Flipped it, sold it, made a ton of money. So we love these episodes, and we're glad that you guys are joining in to listen. Orlando, how are things going, man?
Well, before I talk about how things are going, hey, make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube channel. Make sure that you also are, following us on Spotify or wherever, because, you notice lately, Mike and I are still dropping episodes, but it could be on a Tuesday. It could be Wednesday morning on a live. It could be Thursday. It could be on a Saturday after garage sales. And it's just, this is a stage in life that Mike and I are in, but we want to make a promise to everyone that we will continue pumping free content as long as we're here on this earth. So make sure that you're following us so you don't miss a single Pure Hustle Podcast episode. And we are still reselling. I got to tell you, I am excited. I haven't felt this excitement for Q4 in a long time. I don't know what's been taking place, but things are taking off. Like it's been wild. I've been having, anywhere from 10 plus sales to, high dollar sales. And it's one of those things where I haven't had this in a while, right? Because as full-time reseller, like this was the norm, but now as a part-time reseller who hasn't really listed a lot of stuff, but I keep doing the end and so similar, I keep accepting offer, like things are coming through. And I've been good about everything. I think part of it is that I've been listing again. The other component is I've been shipping out on time. I haven't had many returns. So I'm excited. I haven't felt like this in a long time. I think part of it is, people are also, I don't know, maybe it could be the government shutdown. It could be the economy. Who knows what it is, but things are happening. And we'll talk about eBay's 2025 Q3 earnings, which I think points to some of this. And it's interesting because in our Discord, right, we have people have different conversations, right? We have some people saying, hey, things are kind of slowing down for us, but then somebody else will come in and say, no, like things have only been ramping up. And I want to encourage everyone that listens to the podcast to understand that there is no way to measure how eBay sales are going for everybody. It's just impossible, right? Because we all sell different items. We also have different strategies. We have different places that we source. Some of us do promoted listings. Some of us don't. Who knows after promoted listings gate 2, which we'll talk about here in a moment. There's no way to gauge it. So all you can do is stay in your lane. Do what works for you. Now, if it's not working for you, then you got to adjust. Then you got to pivot. Then you got to figure things out. I'm also encouraged, Gary Vee keeps talking about eBay stuff and garage sales all the time. I'm like, at what point is he going to give it up, right? At what point is he going to talk about crypto? At what point is he going to talk about Pokemon cards, which he has in the past? But I still am in full agreement. If there's any way you want to instantly change your life financially with the lowest risk possible, be a reseller. Go to the garage sales. Go to the thrift store. Find stuff around your house. I'm telling you, it will impact you. It will change you. And I recognize that now after a long time because, I've been in this place where I've been kind of lackadaisical about stuff. But now I had to pick up a new car. I also have a college bill I have to pay and I have other expenses. And part of my, my new thing now is like, I enjoy good coffee every day, which costs about, $6 to $7 a day, which if you do the math, we're talking about we're adding another $250 with tax a month that I'm adding to my budget that I need to figure out. But you know what? I have eBay to cover that, right? I've been cranking on the sales so I can enjoy my quality of life. And that's the other thing. You can do eBay just to enjoy your quality of life, right? If you want to go out to dinner with your family without it, destroying your budget, do eBay. You want to go on date nights every weekend? Do eBay. You want to plan a vacation? Do eBay. You want to pay off your car? Do eBay. And those of you who have been listening to us over the past 472 episodes plus this 473, like we've shared many stories, right? We have Wayne from K-Way Shop who completely transformed his life recently. Went from postman to now social media influencer, but great top seller on Whatnot and eBay. We talk about, other people like Matt Klein, who've been on the podcast, who's still killing it in the shoe business. Like we talk about Latin pickers and their books. Like I don't know what else there is, right? Regardless of your background, regardless of your college degree. I don't know. I feel like I'm evangelizing for eBay here or reselling, but I'm telling you, like, I'm feeling this right now. Now, here's a caveat to all this. So I've told you guys how I lost my top rated seller and I thought eBay was going to give me a grace period. Now, Mike, I'm going to send you right now. Can you check your phone right now?
Yep. I'm
going to send you what eBay told me. If you can read it out loud and then tell me what you think this means, because I'm going to share with you. Because I thought I was still under, this whole grace period. But for whatever reason, hold on, I'm still trying to get it to you. For whatever reason, I'm not under a grace period. I lost it. And I'm like, what does this? Maybe I don't know how to read English. Maybe I need to go back to school because I read this and I was like, oh, good, I'm golden. But I'm not golden. And so here, I'm sending it to Mike right now. Hopefully it gets over the internet waves here and gets to Mike. But I was like, what's going on? Oh, and before Mike reads this out, not only did I lose top rated seller status, I lost concierge. Mike, do you still have concierge?
I haven't called in a long time, so I'm not sure.
Okay. Oh, now
that's really the only way to check, right? Is just by calling.
Yeah, it's the worst. Listen, eBay. You got to do something. Like these people have been selling for over a decade, or you got to give them something. You got to give them something. And I'm gonna whine a little bit more later on. But go ahead, Mike. Share this. All so right. I'm not the one that's crazy.
All right. So I'm gonna read out what you sent me here. It says, we see that you have a great track record as top rated seller, but recently you didn't meet one or more of the sales volume or tracking upload goals set for top rated sellers in the U.S. region. We know that sometimes things come up. That's why we're giving you some extra time until November 19th, 2025 to meet these goals again. During this grace period, we'll continue to evaluate your seller's performance on the 20th of every month to see whether you're eligible to be top-rated seller again. Just make sure you upload tracking on 90% of your U.S. transactions and continue to meet all other top-rated seller requirements. Visit your seller standards dashboard regularly to track your progress. We hope this extra time helps. As always, thank you for selling on eBay.
So what does that say, Mike?
I mean, that you essentially have a grace period until the 19th to get those metrics up and you remain top rated seller.
Which 19th?
November 19th.
Yes.
So you got some time.
I don't. That's what I found out. So I called eBay and I'm like, hey, I noticed that my metrics, I'm at above standard. I've lost my top rated seller. But I received a message from you guys that said I had till the 19th of November to get my metrics up. And they're like, yes, that is true, but we are evaluating you every month. And so you didn't meet the requirements last month, so you're not a top rated seller. I was like, oh, okay. How would you define grace? Please tell me what grace means. And they're like, well, that means that, you're given an opportunity, right, that you don't deserve to make things right. And I said, oh, okay, good. So what is the date for that? And they're like, November 19th. And I said, okay, so it's October. This is when I called it was October. I said, it's October now. So I'm not understanding why I didn't get the grace. They're like, well, you still didn't meet the metrics by October 20th. I was like, oh, okay. What does the email say? They're like, well, it says November 19th. I said, yes. So I'm kind of lost why I didn't receive the grace period, because that's what it says. Well, you're not reading it right. And I said, what? When am I not reading it right? It says during the grace period, we'll continue to evaluate your seller performance on the 20th every month. But then you also say that's why we're giving you some extra time until November 19th to meet these goals again. And they're like, that's true. The wording's kind of off. I said, so can I get my top rated seller status? They're like, no, but I can take some notes and send it off to leadership that this is confusing. I was like, what? Wait. What is going on?
That's bizarre. I don't understand this.
No, not at all. So eBay, if you're listening, and I know you listen to the podcast, please fix this. Please fix this. Like, reach out to Purosa Podcast. You know my store name. You know who I am. Like, what is going on? Like, mean what you say and say what you mean. Like, this is the kind of stuff that resellers get really upset about. And it was interesting because this person, they're playing the political game on the phone, right? And they're like, I could see how you can interpret that from what was said. Like, why interpret what? What are you talking about? So am I crazy, Mike?
No, I mean, I'm reading it the same way. I'm trying to see if maybe there's other things they have. Like, I mean, yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. It seems like they basically were saying like, you're going to stay top rated until the 19th. And then on the 20th, they're going to reevaluate you. And like, so November 20th would be your reevaluation, and then you're good to go, right? Like, if you have met the metrics, then you stay top rated. If not, then now you've lost top rated sellers. That's the way I'm reading it. So that seems to be the easiest way to read it. I don't understand how it could be read any other way. So it's kind of baffling to me.
It is. Now, here's the positive side of it. I have been doing really well, and I will, once I'm evaluated back on the 20th of November, I will get top rated seller again. So I'm not worried about it, but I am concerned. Like, this is, it seems like AI slop, maybe, right? Maybe like somebody just threw it in, didn't know what they were talking about, and that's how we ended there. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, that's it. And I know people are saying it's your fault. I know it's my fault, but eBay said grace period till November 19th. So that's what, let us know in the chat.
I mean, I even put it into, and I know that like AI can be off on things. Yeah. But I put it into Grok and I just asked it to explain the top rated seller grace period for eBay. And even on here, it says duration structure. The grace period spans 2 evaluation cycles, typically 2 months, as evaluation occurs monthly. During this time, you retain full TRS benefits. eBay notifies you via email and seller dashboard, often specifying the end date. So even the way Grok is reading their policies, because it's pulling up all their policies from their website, it seems that extension, if you're showing progress, after 3 months, but still below. Yeah, even the way Grok is reading it is that like you would retain the top rated. Maybe you don't have the title top rated seller, but you're still getting the like discounts and stuff. Have you checked into that?
No, I don't see it.
It says top rated badge on listings. Yeah, that's bizarre. No. Yeah. So again, like even obviously I know AI can make mistakes on things, but it's pulling up all of eBay's policies on here, and that's the way it's reading it too. So that just seems to be like that's how you read it. That's how I'm reading it. That's how AI, which is, in a lot of ways smarter than us at that kind of stuff, right? Because it can access all of that information and give like, this would be like the legal. Yeah. So that doesn't make sense. It not having the concierge really hurts you there, man. Cause I bet you could have just asked to talk to somebody else and got it figured out.
Yeah. It's just, it's crazy to me. It just, anyways, okay. Enough about the ranting. It's like one of those things. All right. Well, but hey, things have been great. I mean, I will tell you, it's been nice because it's a reminder to me of what's possible with eBay. Like, you can turn it on when you want, right? You can kind of chill if you want. And so that's where I'm at. But yeah, it's been really good. It's been really good. So how are things with you, Mike?
Pretty good still. I haven't been doing a lot of sourcing other than a handful of sourcing on Facebook Marketplace or OfferUp. I haven't done garage sales recently, primarily because I'm still trying to clean out inventory. I'm trying to get my inventory as low as possible because going into the start of the new year, I'm planning on moving and I don't want to have to move all this stuff. And I've made a lot of headway. Like, it seems like every couple of weeks I'm another tote or two lighter, whether it's being able to maybe find some bad buys that just are taking up space in your store. And honestly, if you have items like that, because part of me is like, man, I really made mistakes buying these things. But but not all of it. Like some of the stuff like I'm looking at and it's like this stuff just doesn't sell anymore, or the price has come way down. It doesn't mean it was a bad buy when I bought it. Like this was a big reminder for me. Like when I purchased this item, it may have been the right buy. I may have been overpriced, so it didn't move fast enough. And part of that was the mentality that we had early on in the show of like, well, I'll just list it high and eventually the right buyer is going to come along. If there's comparable sales at a high rate, like just list it there. And now we've kind of moved more towards like, hey, kind of list it so you can sell it. Don't worry about holding off for another 20-30% if you can move it now and make good profit. So knowing that, like I didn't necessarily make bad choices, but keeping this inventory in my store and either not reducing the price to a point where it will sell, or just removing the listing completely, donating the item or tossing the item, is making my store stale, right? Like because a big part of your metrics in eBay, or how the algorithm is going to favor your store or not favor your store, is based off of the type of movement you have. Like how quickly are you moving items? How many items do you have that are sitting stale that haven't moved? And so part of me is like, even when I'm throwing things away or donating things and it's like, man, I'm taking this loss. I bought this thing for $5. They're only selling for like $9 now. Like it's not worth my time to like lower it down to that price. Cause by the time I ship it and pay for all the ship, I'm going to make like $2 off this. Like it's not worth it. So part of me, like you get that kind of gut punch of, man, this is a waste. But at the same time, it's like, no, I'm purifying my store. Actually, like I'm giving my store a fighting chance to keep moving up in the algorithm, because now I have fewer items that are sitting. I have a faster turnover rate in my store. So it ultimately, even that kind of thing, it's like if someone were to tell you, Orlando, like, hey, you can spend $100 and you're going to see a 10% increase in sales in your store, it'd be like, yeah, I'll take that. No problem. Right.
Yeah.
But like, there's something that feels like, hey, I'm throwing $100 of stale inventory away, or I'm donating $100. Like I paid $100 for this stuff. And when I purchased it, maybe I could have turned it around and made 500. But now if I'm lucky, I'm going to make 150 off of all of this stuff that I paid 100 on. And it's the amount of time and energy and all that, like, it's just not worth it. So by purifying your store, you're still getting some benefits, right? Like you don't have to look at it as just like, this is a waste. It also makes finding inventory easier when you've got fewer totes to go through, when you've got less junk that you're constantly seeing over and over and over. And so it's been really helpful with that. Even one of the things, it's kind of funny. My wife and I, you remember a video we did a while back? We did that Macy's. My wife and I bought a Macy's. Yeah. So we did an unboxing video. That video actually's got quite a few views on it. And it was really just us buying a box of shelf pulls and various things. And they're all brand new with tag items. And we've sold a lot of them. I'd say we've sold about, if I were estimating, 30% or so. And we've well made up our money on that. Like we've made our money plus quite a bit. But now we've got the stuff that's like, it was in the box. We listed it because we wanted to list all couple hundred items that were in the box. But these are things that just are stale and they're not moving. And so kind of one of the things we're thinking is, it's just not fun doing clothes for us. We prefer selling the hard good type stuff or electronics. So what do we do with this stuff? Do we keep it? It's already listed. Do we get rid of it because it's stale? And I was partially thinking of going through and just purging that stuff too, and saying like, okay, let's find the stuff that could sell, and then we'll maybe throw away half of it or donate half of it. And like the very next day after I had that thought of doing that, one of those random items sold on eBay, right? And it's like, oh man, I got to go find this item. So then it's like, well, maybe this stuff is still selling because the buy price for each item was probably at this point, like under $1 or about $1 an item. So when it sells for $14, $15, I mean, that's not a ton of money, but I've already made all my money back on that box. So it's like a free $15 every time. So it's like, do I keep this stuff? It's taken up a couple totes. So I still haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to purge it. But it is kind of random, right? Like, not that I 100% do not believe that we can like will things into existence, you know? I don't think that's the case at all, but it is interesting how many times it's like, you think about like, oh, I wish I could find such and such. And then after you've thought about it randomly, you find that item when you're at a garage sale or something like that. So there are a lot of interesting coincidences. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'll probably do what I said at the beginning of this and just purge the items that are not quite worth it. They're like $7 or $8 listed. and then just keep the stuff that's a little bit nicer, and then maybe go back through and not just end and sell similar, because even though that is effective, I'm not 100% convinced that it fully resets the listing unless you wait like 24 to 48 hours. Like you've got to let the web crawler algorithm kind of crawl through the store multiple times and all the eBay listings and not see it, and kind of reset its like system and then see it to think it's new. So I think if you do that, it's more likely to reset the listing. But yeah, other than that, I mean, things have been going good. Random sales here and there. Definitely cleaning out my inventory and in a good position for moving forward after the start of the year. And, you know, like you said, Q4 sales, like they're definitely picking up already. The types of items I'm selling, definitely Q4 related. And I'm excited to, I still have some death piles, not so much of a death pile as I used to have, but just continue getting all of that death pile item listed. So that way I'm going into Q4 running on all cylinders.
It's Q4 already. Isn't that crazy? It's like November. It's wild to me. It is wild to me. So, okay. All right. So random stories. Before we move on to random stories, though, I do want to talk about my reseller Genie. One of the greatest tools out there for any reseller, whether you're new or you're experienced reseller. If you're worried about taxes, if you're worried about documenting what you pick up, or you're worried about making sure that you get every deduction, check out my reseller Genie. You can use our code Pure Hustle and you'll get 15% off the first month. Again, use our code Pure Hustle and get 15% off the first month. My reseller Genie, you can go to the link below. It's a great tool. I mean, I just got my taxes done and it helped me out so much. Allowed me to get a I said PLC. I've been in education for too long. It allowed me to get a Schedule C. And it allowed me to, you know, track my profit and loss, my inventory, all that great stuff. And this is what I love about what Paul and Faith are doing, my reseller Genie. They keep improving it, right? It's not like they just created it and they just left it out there. Like they are continually working on it. There's always new updates, new things happening. So check out my reseller Genie and use our code Pure Hustle. All right, random stories. Now, I'm going to share my story real quick because I feel like I spent too much time on myself, which I keep doing, but you know, that's human nature. So I got the buyer experience of eBay and I don't like it. I think eBay needs to fix it. I bought a jacket off of eBay and you know, it was XL and I'm like, oh, like I should have no problem fitting this, right? Put it on. It was not an XL. It was either a child's XL or a woman's XL. And I know I'm, you know, I am a larger dude, but like, there's no way. This was like Tommy Boy, like, you know, big guy in little coat, but like to the next level. Like it was not good. And so I'm like, all right, I put in a return request because there's, you know, nothing I can do with it. And so I put in a return request and the person, instead of accepting it, just rejected my return. I'm like, you can do that? I didn't know you could do that. I've never rejected a return.
Well, it's because you have you've got automatic returns on.
Yeah, true. So then I try to contact the buyer. And I try to contact the buyer. I mean, sorry, see, I'm so used to being a reseller. I try to contact the seller and it won't let me contact the seller. It's like this case has been closed already. I'm like, closed? I wanted to return this and they rejected my return. I can't do anything. I couldn't even message them. And I'm like, what is going on? So then I contact eBay and that was a mess. Like, since I'm not concierge, like I scrolled and I had put like, this is the item I want to talk about. And then it would just give me a bunch of articles. I'm like, I don't want articles. I want to talk to somebody. So I had to like spam the eBay AI chatbot, whatever, until I finally got a representative. So I get the representative and they're like, well, this person doesn't accept returns. So, you know, I'm sorry. And I was like, wait, don't you have your eBay money back guarantee? Like if something's not as described or not doesn't fit, like I can return it. Like,
did you do it as an INAD?
No. Okay. So listen, this is what I didn't understand. So then they tell me like, well, what did you put for your reason? I said, well, it doesn't fit.
Oh yeah. You had to do
well, hold on. Let me finish. So then it said, well, that's buyer's remorse. I'm like, what? I'm remorseful because it didn't fit. Again, grace period doesn't mean grace. Remorse does not mean didn't fit. Remorse is like, I told her, I said, remorse means I didn't like it and I felt bad about it and I don't want it anymore. It didn't fit. And they're like, no, you should have put, like you said, item not as described. I'm like, okay, I'm a reseller and I understand item not as described. But if I wasn't a reseller and I'm just a buyer, and I would also put the reason why I didn't want it, I would have clicked on does not fit. Why would I put item as described? If I think of item not as described, I'd be like, hey, it's not blue, it's a black jacket, or it's not a cloak.
Yeah, I guess,
you know what I mean?
I guess here's the difference though. So like, there are times where like I buy like a large, right? And large usually fits me. This large doesn't fit me. It is a large, but it's uncomfortable. It doesn't quite fit the way I like a shirt to fit. I would need an extra large in this one or something like that, right? That's not an item not as described. That is a large. It just isn't necessarily the large that fits me. Whereas that would be a did not fit. Like, hey, this is uncomfortable. Like Amazon, when you buy clothes, you can return it if it doesn't sound a good fit or whatever. That would be a does not fit. But if it's like, hey, I ordered an extra large and this is like a doll, or like you said, this would be like a kid's extra large. This isn't a human adult extra large. This just isn't. Then that would be an item not as described, right? If it was being sold as an adult male extra large and it comes and it's a woman's extra large, or it is a child's extra large, that would be an item not as described. That wouldn't be, it does not fit.
But why couldn't the representative been like, oh, well, let me change it to item not as described because that's what you're describing? Like, why couldn't they just do that?
I mean, I guess because they want to prevent fraud. If somebody is like, because that would upset, like, imagine the seller's side of that, right? Like, I do accept returns, but just hypothetically, I don't accept returns. I'm shipping this. It's got all the measurements, right? Like I've already put in the chest measurements and all this stuff. They know what size they're getting.
They put no measurements, by the way. But go ahead.
Fair enough. Then that kind of is on you for assuming, right? But if you buy it and you're like, hey, they sent it this way to me, and then they said, hey, I just don't like the way this fits me. Like it's just uncomfortable, whatever. I want to send this back. And I say, sorry, that's not a reason to return for me. Like you bought it. No, all sales final. It's a return. And then they go, okay, well then it's item not as described. Well, no, that's a lie now, right? Because this is the item. I described it correctly. You just don't like the way it fits on you, right? So there is a difference between an item somebody not liking the way something fits on them and a store not taking, like you would be ticked if somebody could try and get a return and they use something and you're like, no, sorry, I'm not returning that. And then eBay was like, well, we're going to change it to INAD so that way you have to take it. Now you're taking the hit. Like you would be mad as the seller but if it wasn't INAD initially, right? Then that's,
I see what you're saying.
Like you wouldn't want a customer to be upset calling in and saying like, hey, I bought this thing and I'm unhappy with it for whatever reason. It is the item they described. And I can't return it. And they're like, well, let's just make it an INAD and then you can return it. You know what I mean? Like that would be shady. That would be wrong. In your situation, you just clicked the wrong one to start with.
Yeah, but how would I have known? That's what I told her. I was like, how would I have known that I should have put item not as described? For me, it didn't fit, right? And it's because the measurements were off, right? Like this person listed this as a men's jacket and it was not a men's jacket.
Because the item was not the way they described it.
I guess. I don't know. Okay, but there's a few wines here. Okay. The first one is, why was it so hard to get anybody on the phone? It's ridiculous. So, and even with the chatbot, like the chatbot would just send me articles. I don't want articles. At least, when you do chatbots with other companies, like there's actually a live representative on the other side when you're doing chat, right? This was just a chatbot can send me articles. I don't know. I just, it's fine. I mean, I bought this thing at a great price and I'm probably going to 3X my money when I resell it. But I'm like, I don't know. Why I buy most of my stuff on Amazon. I love Amazon because Amazon, like, there's no questions asked. Like as I've been having to get more clothes because of, I've changed sizes. Like at times, like, one XL isn't the same as another XL, right? And you get it and you're like, whoa, like this is not okay. And no questions asked, just return it. No big deal. Like no one, like no comment, right? Or I've even worn stuff, and people on eBay, our listeners are going to hate this, but I've worn stuff. And at the end of the day, I'm like, you know what? I just didn't like how that fit. Like at first I thought I liked it. And at the end of the day, it wasn't comfortable. And I've returned it. and Amazon has not dinged me. Amazon has said you can't return it. The other thing that Amazon does amazing, I bought a sports coat and it was missing buttons. I don't know why. I got shipped a sports coat, no buttons. So then I put in a request, and what Amazon does sometimes is that it'll ship out a replacement one and just expects you to return the one that you bought within a certain time frame, right? Mm-hmm. So you're not having to do the return and then wait and then buy again. Like, I don't know. It's just things I think about. Like, it's kind of like, when I was out of education for 8 years as an entrepreneur, I was just a parent at my kid's school, right? My kid went to private school, and I had a certain view of how I did things as an administrator, right? I didn't get the parent perspective because at that point in time, like I was the vice principal, and like I thought everything we did was great because I was the one behind it, or my team was behind it, right? But then when I became a parent, I would be like, wait, why are we doing this? Like, what? And I there's things I would notice as a parent that I wouldn't notice. And I think now that I'm on the other side again, as a school administrator, there are certain perspectives that I have that now, as being on the other side, I'm like, okay, I get why parents feel this way, and I get why we need to do things this way. And I see it's the same thing here, right? As now that I've been on the buyer side, I'm like, okay, like in the end, to benefit all of us sellers, like it would just be helpful if there'd be better customer service on the buyer side for people. And there'd be also more like, I would say more direct language as to what does buyer's remorse mean? What does INAD mean? What does items doesn't fit? Does that make sense?
Yeah. No, I get it. No, for sure. You got to have a wide perspective. And I feel like we try to do that. And I try to do that a lot on the show, where it's like, okay, but from the buyer's perspective, or from eBay's perspective, like why they may or may not do this, because you've got to do that, because everybody is going to be more emotionally attached to whatever side they're closest to.
Yeah.
But you got to realize, like, for the most part, like I try to be charitable, and understand like why things would happen a certain way. And it's the same thing with eBay. Like, I do believe there's a lot of problems. I believe there's a lot of problems with corporations in general, where like a lot of the top leadership, they're there for a short period of time. They're trying to make the line go up as fast as they can, even if it's not good long-term for the company, because then it looks good on their resume before they move to the next place. Like there's some broken systems for sure. But on the other side of that, most companies, like when we get upset, like, why would they implement this new policy? This doesn't make any sense. And it's like, well, I don't know. I have to believe that there's some semi-intelligent people in the company going, okay, let's look at all the angles. What's going to make what is going to work? Okay, this is going to upset some people, but the benefits are going to outweigh the negatives here. And so we need to take this action. Usually the companies aren't making decisions that are just going to tank the company on purpose. And if they do make a mistake, they're going to try and rectify it as quick as possible. So yeah, I think we got to think about that. And that is a good reminder as a reseller, is we're also customers, so we know we should be able to detach a little bit, put ourselves in a customer's shoe. And then same thing when eBay or Amazon makes a policy that we're like, oh, this hurts me individually as a seller. Like, why would they do this? And it's like, well, I'm not the only person that matters to eBay, right? Like, they have a company to run, and they've got to make enough profit, and they got to make decisions that are going to benefit the most amount of people, or at least benefit them maybe, which should hopefully ideally benefit everybody. So yeah, I mean, that is just a good reminder. You've got to sometimes step out of a situation and kind of see it from multiple sides in order to get the full picture. And that's just a good reminder in general, is before you get upset and emotional about something, is like kind of step back. Because again, just like I was telling you, as the buyer, you were pretty upset in that situation. But if you put yourself in the seller's shoes, and you're like, now I'm getting a ton of INADs that aren't real INADs, just because this person knows that if it's an INAD, I have to accept the return. But if it's not an INAD, I don't have to do a full return on this. So I'm getting fake INADs, and eBay is allowing them to do this when it's clearly not an INAD, right? Like, so when you step out a little bit and you go, okay, but that's the beauty of reselling. Like, if you're selling 1,000 items a year, you're going to have a handful that fall flat. You're going to have a handful that you like hit a home run on, and you're going to have a whole bunch that just kind of was like good. And that's totally fine. Like, that's how things work. Even successful businesses, like, they don't have to win 100% of the time. Every decision doesn't have to be a win. It's like, as long as more than half of them are wins, it's like batting, right? Like, you don't have to be batting 1,000. As long as your ratio is up high enough and you have enough home runs, you're going to be set. And so just remembering that too, of like, hey, there's going to be times when eBay does side against you and you kind of get the short end of the stick on a deal. But for every time that happens, if you have a handful of home runs that you made a killing on, you're still coming out ahead.
Yeah, true.
It's all perspective, man.
I know. All right. What's your random story? Or do you want to move on to reselling topics?
Yeah, I'll do a couple quick random stories. So we just bought my son a snake for his birthday. I've had snakes before, so I'm super familiar with them.
Like
he wanted one.
Or something?
No, just a little corn snake.
Okay.
So we were at the pet store getting it, and while we were looking at the like snakes and reptiles and stuff, there was a guy standing in the aisle next to us, and he was looking at the spider section. And as he's looking in the spider section, he sees that they're selling jumping spiders. You know those like they're cute for spiders, right? Like the little tiny ones that like have they have a cartoon show. I can't remember what it's called, like Luca or something like that. It's like a jumping spider show. So for as far as spiders go, they're cute spiders. Even a lot of people who don't like spiders like, oh, it's cute. And they were selling them for $40. And this guy's like, wow, I've got these things in my house. I'm going to start collecting these things and selling them. And I was just cracking up at that, but like thinking like there really is a market for all kinds of stuff. And it reminded me of another time that I was at a Dollar Tree, and the lady in front of me was trying to buy live scorpions or dead scorpions that the cashier was catching at her house because she was complaining about, I've got my third scorpion in a row that I've found in my bathroom. She's like, oh, here's my card. If you get scorpions, give them to me. I'll come and I'll pick them up. And I whatever they do, they put them in the chemicals. And she goes, I put them in little jars and I sell them online for a ton of money. It's like there's so many ways you could resell and find a niche. Like even if it's one thing when you're like, okay, I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to figure out what brand of t-shirt sells the best. All right, you could do that. It's a pretty saturated market. But there's people out there going, hey, I'm going to sell dead scorpions. And they're doing it, right? Like, and there's people saying, you know what? There's people who buy jumping spiders. I'm going to start collecting jumping spiders and list them on Facebook Marketplace, and someone's going to buy them, right? Like it's just, there is a market out there that you can find. There's a niche for you. You just got to be willing to think outside the box a little bit. That's all I got for this one.
All right, appreciate that. All right. Hey, before we move on to our reselling topics, in case you're wondering when we talk about the Discord, what are we talking about? So we have a Patreon. If you go to patreon.com/PureHustlePodcast, or you go to link below for $5.55 a month. Okay, $5.55 a month. You can jump into our Patreon, which gives you access to our Discord. Every month we have new people jumping in. Every month we got new stories in there. We got new bolos, new hustle of the week. We have people that sell on Amazon, sell on eBay, sell on Etsy, all kinds of resellers from vintage goods to retail arbitrage. So if you want to jump into our Discord, come on over for $5.55 a month. Go to link below and sign up. Also, you can find us on all social media. We are Pure Hustle Podcast, except we are Pure Hustle Cast on X. You can always shoot us an email. By the way, thank you to all of you that shot us an email about the last Halloween episode. People really enjoyed that episode. They loved how, we talked about a niche, and maybe we need to do that for another one. We just go down different niches and like what works. I think the one we did, I thought was pretty unique. That's why I don't know if people are going to be like, I can't wait for that episode about spoons and how spoons sell on eBay. Like, I don't think that's going to be too entertaining, but maybe we'll go down that road. But if you want to email us, you can email us at purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. That's purehustlepodcast@gmail.com. And as always, grateful for all the iTunes reviews. If you haven't given us an iTunes review, please jump on over. We are the largest reselling podcast and the most listened to reselling podcast. Go over to iTunes, click on that 5 stars and tell people why you listen to Pierce Podcast. And if you only listen to us but never jump on the YouTubes, come on over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and click that bell notification, because you never know when we're going to drop an episode or just a random video. And as always, grateful for all of you. All right, it is time for us to talk about some reseller topics, and these, as Mike would say, are spicy.
Right. Well, no, the bolos are spicy. These could be spicy. It depends on what's going on in the reselling world. And now we're going to talk about the top buyer. All this and more on Reseller News. Orlando, take it away.
I love how we always lose you for like 5 seconds while the music plays. Like, you're like, we're going to talk about, dun, 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 and then at the end it goes, Orlando, take it away. So you keep everybody in suspense.
But does it do it on the podcast? I guess I don't. I need to go back through and listen. I think my audio comes through. Let us know. Let us know in the comments on YouTube. Can you hear me?
Right.
Can you hear my good narration? That's what I want to know.
Let us know. All right. So this is Promoted Listings Gate Part 2. Okay. Now, Part 1 happened several years ago, and that was such an emergency where Mike and I held like a mini podcast about it. And that was the one where like you now had to like pay extra like when things got promoted, and if you wanted your stuff higher in the ranks in the listings on the search page, you had to pay for that and all that. And it just became a big deal because people were not expecting all that. Well, this one, eBay has told us about it, but here's this. I think eBay was sneaky about this. Like, you just had eBay open, right? That would have been the place to kind of talk about this. But I understand, as somebody who's in leadership, like sometimes you put bad news in an email, I guess. I don't know. I don't think that's great leadership, but I understand why people do it, right? Like, it causes less fuss. But it doesn't calm things down. So let me just summarize what's going on. I'm not going to read the eBay message. I'm going to summarize it. So eBay says eBay is changing how promoted listings general works, right? So for example, right now, if you have promoted listings general, right, or any kind of promoted listings, you pay the promoted listings on the item that you have promoted listings if somebody goes through your promoted listings view, right? So they click on it, it sells, and you pay eBay your portion of promoted listings. Okay, that's how it goes. Well, now it says sellers will now be charged starting January 13th if any buyer purchases the item within 30 days, anyone clicking a promoted listing. So even if one person clicked on it, let's say Mike clicks on something, and then I later look for that item and I organically find it and I buy it, whoever sold that to me still has to pay a promoted listing, even though it was Mike that clicked on the promoted listing.
Are you sure that's what it's saying? That it's not just within 30 days?
No, 100%. That's what's happening.
Because I'm reading this like item within 30 days of anyone clicking on a promoted. I'm reading it as like, hey, if I click on the item and then 30 days later I go back, within 30 days I buy that item, I pay the promoted listing.
No, it's any buyer.
You sure?
Yes, 1,000%, bro. Like, here, go to eBay, go to seller.
I'll check it out. I'll look. Okay. I'll look. I'm trusting you.
This is a big deal. I mean, Rally Roots did a whole video on this. Actually, did 2 videos on this. There's some other people. Colorado Warren has some great posts on this on social media. I mean, this is wild. To me, this is a way for eBay to have higher fees without having higher fees. They're just like, yeah, everything's promoted. So now I've come with the understanding, and this is why I'm not mad about it, because in the end, there's nothing we can do. It's their playground. They can do what they want. At the same time, it is the one place where you can sell anything internationally for a really low cost. So I'm like, all right, whatever, we'll deal with it. So basically, this means higher costs without added exposure, clicks, or sales. And sellers of multi-quantity items could be hit the hardest. Imagine that. Imagine if you used to have like 20 items, the same item, and one person clicks on the promoted listing and then 20 different people buy it. Every single transaction of that same item, even though they found it organically, will end up being charged a promoted listing fee. It is nuts. And then promoted listings priority, those that the pay-per-click campaigns, those will qualify for the top ad spots. So if you don't do pay-per-click, you're not going to be at the top. So that's pretty much.
I guess the only thing, because I mean, you're right. That is the new policy.
Isn't that crazy? That's crazy.
But again, like trying to understand why, right? Like, okay, so were people gaming the system? Because we know that eyes on an item is important, right? Like if an item, let's say I've got like 500 of an item, right? I got 500 quantity, and I promote that item, and now all of a sudden I'm selling a bunch of them, right? And then I turn promoted listings off, because now my listing already has a ton of traction and people are coming to it because they've already seen a bunch sold. It's already got movement on it. I can't just like run it promoted for one day and turn the promotion off, because, hey, that item has received benefit from being promoted, even though I turn that off. Like, you now have to go 30 days with this item before you're not paying promoted. Because that seems like that would be, because for the most part, people aren't going to, I imagine if you're promoting the item, it's coming up first because it's promoted. People are going to click on your promoted item. probably the only time they're not clicking on it as a promoted item is if you've taken the promotion off. So like if you were kind of gaming the system where you had the promotion on and then you took the promotion off, like that's the only thing I could think. Like why like the people are gaming the system.
So Rally Roots had an interesting conspiracy theory. Their conspiracy theory is that since their website is so antiquated, right? It's still like trapped in the 90s, right? That they've run into problems with promoted listings where like they haven't been able to track everyone that's purchased via promoted listings. So eBay is like, let's just make everything promoted listings. So if you do promoted listings at all, this is what we're going to do.
Well, I mean, it has to still be that item, right? The item has to have been promoted.
True, but now, right? eBay doesn't really have to have a lot of like boxes checked, right? All you need is one person to click on it. One person, that's it. And whoever buys it after that, you will get charged a promoted listings fee. Doesn't matter.
But right? if it's promoted, like, do you have very many items? I mean, I guess I don't pay enough attention to like, because I promote most things and I usually see like, okay, like here's the fee I'm paying promoted listing. Do you have many items that you have promoted that don't have a promoted listing fee on it when it sells?
No, every single one does. If it's a promoted item, it has a listing fee.
Okay, so then the only way this would matter anyways is if you're taking the promoted listing off. That's the only change.
True, but it matters because if you have it organically and somebody finds it organically, right? So, for example, I keep going to Rally Roots video. I think they did a good job on it. They were talking to one of their friends who's a top, like, huge seller in Australia. And before, 50% of their items would end up getting the promoted listings fee removed, right? Because that means like 50% of the time people found it organically, the other 50% they found it through a promoted listing, right? Then because they already rolled this out. We talked about this in the podcast a couple months ago that they already rolled this out in Australia and I think the UK. Well, then after this got implemented, it went to 80% of their listings, and then it went to 100% of their listings ended up with promoted listing fees. So every single item that they sell, regardless of whether it was a promoted listing or organically found, got charged a promoted listing fee. And there's no way. It's kind of the same thing that eBay did when I asked them at the promoted listings, the gathering in San Diego I went to, where I was like, hey, so when you do the dynamic ad rates, right? The dynamic ad rate is basically like you do a promoted listing and eBay will charge you the percentage of whatever the average rate is for that item. And I asked them, I'm like, hey, do you have metrics to kind of show us like what it is at the moment instead of just like charging us after? And like, no, you just basically it's what we tell you. And I'm like, oh, so trust me, bro, is what you're saying. Like that's pretty much what you're telling me. You're telling me that is what I'm supposed to go by. And I think it's the same thing here. It's supposed to be like, just trust us. It would have been a promoted listing anyways.
I guess, so, I mean, it stinks because if that is true, like if a big seller is saying, hey, 50% of our items, we weren't paying that promoted listing fee and now we do. So essentially, let's say you're promoting at 4%. Now all my items cost 4% more to sell.
Yes, exactly.
So I understand that. So all my items opposed to maybe only 50% of my items. But I guess, again, I don't love that. I think that sucks. Anytime we have an extra fee, like I'm never a fan of that. But at the same time, if you just change that paradigm to like when you put promoted listing on an item, you're just assuming I'm paying an extra 4% on this item when it sells. Like if you know that going in, that might adjust how much you're promoting your items anyways. If you knew like guaranteed 100% if this sells, because you're not going to put something on a promoted percentage if you're not happy with what your net from it's going to be anyways. So it does stink that like you are going to end up with smaller net total, but just knowing like, hey, when I list this with 4% promoted listing, that it's going to be selling for 4%. I'm going to be hit with a 4% fee. Like you just know that going in.
So there you go. So you have higher fees now, right?
Yeah.
That's one way that eBay got higher fees on everybody. Because the reality is most people are going to, again, I must refer to the video one more time, but their Rally Roots was like, well, we're still not going to stop doing promoted listings. We're not going to leave eBay. We're not going to do anything, right? Pretty much. And eBay knows that, right? eBay knows that they are the.
Well, they can only squeeze so much, but they're going to squeeze as much as they can.
Well, until somebody has solid market share, and there is no one right now. There is no one that can compete with eBay, right? Poshmark keeps fumbling the bag, right? Whatnot, not really close. Depop, I mean, it's there, but it's not even close. right? And you know, eBay also, we didn't talk about their Q3 earnings, but they had really strong numbers. So let's talk about that real quick. I don't think I put in our reseller topics, but eBay's what do you think was the top moneymaker for eBay?
Your fees.
Yeah, not just fees, promoted listings, right? Again, that's their winner, like every single time. Right now, so in Q3, I can send you this if you want, Mike, so you can look at it with me. But in Q3, eBay did really, really well, like really well. I mean, they ended up 8% earnings, right? They're doing far better than they did the year before. So if we take a look at the numbers here, so eBay in Q3 last year, they made, let me see, Q3 2024, 18.3 billion. Okay. And this is gross merchandise value. This is just items that have sold, Okay. 18.3 billion. This year they made 20.1 billion in Q3, which is phenomenal. It's great. Right. So that tells me we're going to have a great Q4, which I'm saying right now, like Q4 is building. Okay. When it comes to advertising revenue, okay, this is promoted listings. Q3 last year, they made 424 million. This year they made 525 million. So they made over 100 million more from Q3 to Q3 on promoted listings. And they know it. They know, like they know that like eBay sellers, like even the big influencers, even the people that have hundreds of thousand items, they're not going to stop eBay, right? They're not going to quit eBay, even though, right, there some of the things that they're talking about. So, for example, the enthusiastic buyer program, and we've talked about that before. Like, what is enthusiastic buyer? Enthusiastic buyer is someone, I believe it's somebody that buys over $600 worth of items. You know, they over and over again they buy from eBay. Well, that number has kind of stalled. So I'm going to pull up from Value Added Resource. They said enthusiast buyers are those with at least 6 purchase days, at least $800 spent in the last 12 months, and our buyers who also sell are still stuck at 16 million as far as that's how much they've made off of them, which is where they've been since Q4 2022. Again, despite eBay engaging in significant discounting aimed specifically at trying to goose this stat, they said, Jamie Ione said, what we also see is despite the fact that we're in a challenging macro environment, we really don't see our enthusiastic buyers churn on the marketplace. So eBay hasn't lost them, but we also it hasn't gained more. But it still has sold more. So to me, it's still encouraging. I still think eBay is the way to go. And this is why I think eBay is comfortable getting away with some of this stuff. Like, what do they got to lose? What, like, I'm not going to stop selling on eBay. Rally Roots isn't going to stop selling on eBay, right? Those that have, thousands, they're not going to stop selling on eBay. Like, that's their bread and butter. Like, that's how they make their money, right? So have we all, given in and said, you know what? All right, eBay, go ahead. You want to charge us 4 to 10% more on our items? Sure. That's pretty much what you said. Now, what does that mean practically for all of us? That means when you're buying, you got to negotiate for the bottom dollar every single time. Like, right, you will make your money at your buy. So don't be scared about negotiating. Don't be scared about asking the question like, hey, can we work on this? Is there any more that we can do? Don't be scared to do that, because that's what's going to help you defeat what I call unjust procedures here, practices by eBay. All right, I said my piece. Mike, you got any more to add on that? Oh, you're muted right now, Mike.
Oh, sorry about that. Nope. I think that was pretty thorough there. All right, what's our next item? The Barista Cup.
I just wanted to talk about this because I get up early and I was gonna go, but I'm so glad I didn't.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's funny. The two mistakes Starbucks made. I can't believe people care this much, but I mean, there's people who care. I didn't realize. I see Starbucks is closing everywhere. It seems like other coffee shops kind of have taken the market, but some people still are Starbucks fanatics. And the two mistakes that Starbucks made is, one, allowing employees to buy before the store opened, right? They even had to issue an apology for this, right? So they've got this little bear cup that says Starbucks on it. It's their Barista, which is funny because Buc-ee's. I still don't think you've been to a Buc-ee's, man. I got to take you to a Buc-ee's.
I have not.
They they either have already had or just made one that's a Buc-ee's version, which is hilarious that they did that. And then also I guess Amazon has that, basically that exact same cup, just doesn't say Starbucks on it.
Yeah,
but you know, Starbucks is the thing. People want the Starbucks one. So that was one mistake. And the second mistake they made is, I guess, I don't know if it's every store, but they didn't have limits on them. And so as people were waiting in line, I saw some videos where, like, as they're opening the door, the Starbucks is telling people, like, all right, make sure you guys are nice to each other as you guys are coming in. But remember, there is no limit. So then the first person comes in, buys them all, and everybody else is just out of luck, right? Like,
yeah.
It's bonkers. And what are they selling for? A few $100s right now on eBay?
Yeah. When I checked, you know, they're selling at 4 a.m. I remember, like, at 7 a.m. I was checking, like, I saw some for 300, 400. You know, I saw one for 80. Like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, but again, I believe, like, you could have done a better job if you just went to garage sales and you would have made more money. Like, getting those, like, I heard.
But not if you were the first, right? Like, if you were the one that was able to go in first and buy 50 of them.
One. Yeah.
But if you bought, like, if you could, like, that was the thing though. Like, if you came in and you were, like, not the first, but there wasn't, like, if you were in a small Starbucks somewhere in a town where people weren't going crazy for it, like, you could have made buku bucks. But yeah, if you only picked up 2 or 3, you know, unless you were going to Starbucks anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wasn't sold on it. But all right, this next one. So Etsy, I like this. Etsy they're testing out top-rated buyer. So what this means is, like, if somebody is a major purchaser based on dollar value of Etsy, like it notifies you. And I'm like, wow, like, I would love that for eBay. I would love it if, like, somebody, you know, even still, eBay doesn't tell me if it's a repeat buyer until after. Why after? Why do you tell me when somebody sends me an offer, there should be, like, a little badge that says repeat buyer? Because guess what? I will probably sell to that repeat buyer. Or if something says top buyer, I will sell to that top buyer. Right? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, having seen it when it says repeat buyer, and like, oh, if only I had known. So I'm excited about this. I thought it was good. I don't know. You think it's a good idea, or you think it's going to lead to, like, a, you know, stratification of eBay buyers?
I mean, no, I mean, I think we've asked for in the past, and there's reasons they got rid of, like, being able to even rate buyers, right? Like that they had bad results from that. But that could be a way of, like, kind of having, like, a rated buyer without a rated buyer where there's not that, like, punitive where you're actually rating them and giving them negatives. But yeah, if somebody came to you either as a repeat buyer or as, like, a top buyer, and they're giving you an offer, you're like, hey, the only way they're going to have this is if they buy a lot of stuff on eBay, they don't do a lot of returns, they're not a problem. Then yeah, like you said, you might be more willing to sell to them, give them. And then again, eBay wants to, I mean, I know this is an Etsy thing, but thinking about why this would be beneficial for eBay to roll out something like this, eBay wants to have those, what do they call them? Enthusiastic buyers, right? They want to have those buyers who are
enthusiasts.
Yeah, they're enthusiast. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's not enthusiastic. It's enthusiast because they're, like, hobby enthusiasts about, like, you know, I buy Pokemon cards, so I'm on eBay a lot more than the person who just randomly buys a part for their, you know, vacuum cleaner. So yeah, they're enthusiast buyers. So yeah, I don't think it would hurt to, like, hey, I'm a top rated buyer. Like, I don't see a problem with it. It could be beneficial.
There you go. All right, hey, we're going long today. All right, hey, let's talk about some bolos. That's what we got for this topic. Bolo. What's your bolo?
All right, so I don't really have, like, a specific bolo this time, other than November is a good time, in my opinion, to, when you're at garage sales and thrift stores, to potentially be picking up fitness equipment, right? Because we know at the beginning of the years when everybody goes on their fitness journey, when all the gyms are going to be full and people are going to start buying equipment for their homes. But they also just went through December. So unless they got their fitness equipment in December for Christmas, they're kind of strapped for money. So some people go and they buy the nice treadmill, but a lot of people are like, hey, I'm going to check Facebook Marketplace. I want to get in shape. And in November, people are a lot of times clearing out their garage because they've got, you know, to make room for Christmas, and they just got all their Christmas decorations. They're getting all that stuff ready. And so a lot of stuff is being sold, and they're not thinking yet about, like, oh, I just gained 15 pounds over Thanksgiving and Christmas. I should get back in shape. oh, I shouldn't have sold that, elliptical or whatever. So if you've got the space for it, or you're willing to deal with things like kettlebells and weighted vests and things that are a little bit heavier, I tend to flip those things locally and not try and flip them all on eBay. Some things do fine on eBay, like if you get like the Slim and Six or certain types of workout videos, like those can do well on eBay. But I just find November to be like a kind of a sweet spot for being able to purchase at a decent price fitness equipment, because just within a month or two, that stuff is going to skyrocket in price.
Okay. Yeah. And also be aware of how you ship it. Oh, by the way, I didn't talk about this, and this is going to be sidetracked a little bit, but I've been using lately, I've been using the FedEx 2-day flat rate packs. So FedEx has like flat rate shipping, and they're like boxes that you can get like at FedEx, and it's cheaper than USPS flat rate shipping. So instead of paying like flat rate shipping on USPS, is like for a medium box is like $17, $18, something $19. And on FedEx, it's like $12. It's like 12 something if you have the top rated seller discount or whatever discounts I have. I don't know if it's a top rated seller. And it's in 2 days. It'll get there in 2 days, right? It's a lot faster. So check that out. We'll probably talk about that in a future podcast when you have a little bit more time. So my bolo here is Disney Pixar toys that are vintage. Okay. Now you think vintage, like is Disney Pixar, can it be vintage? Do you know when Toy Story came out? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact year, but Toy Story was the first digitally animated video. So yeah, it's vintage.
1995.
Oh.
Right. And what about Cars? You remember when Cars came out?
I don't remember when Cars came out. I know it went Toy Story and then Bugs Life and then I think Toy Story
Bugs
2.
Life. That one was terrible.
Oh, Bugs Life was great, man. I love that.
And then they made a whole Disney exhibit about it. About Disney section. It was terrible. So, okay, Disney Pixar Cars, just to give you like 2006, right? So we're approaching vintage, right? It's 2025. And some of these toys sell for good money, right? Because they're rare. Like I just recently sold the Pope car. Remember the Pope car from part 2? Like the diecast car for like $22. Like what? Like, these were $4 when you bought them retail. You can get like there's like a Mater Lightning McQueen kind of hybrid, and it's like $80 to $100. Like there's different, and the reason I know this because my garage sale, there was a garage sale across the street from me, and I bought a backpack full of vintage Disney Pixar stuff for $20, and I've already made a couple hundred off of it. Disney Pixar planes, if you find those new and sealed, like there's good money on it. So be aware. I mean, it's one of those things that people don't think about. Like, really, Disney Pixar, like it's not that old, but whenever stuff is discontinued, like there's definitely a market for it because people want it or they think about their childhood or whatever it is. Now they're not all alike, right? Like you got to remember, like sometimes people go like, Orlando looked it up, and the first one I looked up, like it wasn't worth very much. But you have to remember, like if you pick up stuff. Okay, and you get it for like $5. You get a bag full of these planes. Like, Thriftzilla does this all the time, right? He has a YouTube channel, by the way. Check him out. I wonder if is his YouTube channel Thriftzilla. So let's give him a shout out, like we always do. But he buys toys. Like he'll buy a bag of toys for $5, and he'll make a killing on it. So I encourage people to always be about that. Yeah, Thriftzilla is still Thriftzilla on Instagram. So he has a different YouTube channel. But I encourage you guys, like, hey. Think about these bags. They're easy to ship. They're easy to take pictures. I mean, I'm looking right now at some of the planes here. Like somebody had a set of 12 sealed Pixar planes and they sold it for $200, right? And then they saw some other planes. Here's one Disney Pixar planes deluxe talking dusty crop hopper for $45 plus shipping. Like think about that. Like you can get these for super cheap if you find somebody that's what happened to me. Like this person, it was their kids' toys. Their kids are in high school. They're kind of done with them and just pay 25. I think I paid $25 for a backpack full of Disney Pixar toys. So keep an eye out. Some of the Buzz Lightyears are worth money. Like the ones that talk, the Woodies that talk from that same era, like those are worth money. I sold those for great money. If you find them sealed, you're talking about hundreds. So keep an eye out for those. All right, Mike, what are you looking forward to here?
Man, I'm looking forward to the holidays. Q4 picks up, and then there's the little dip there after the big rush, and just enjoying some family time. And I think it's gonna be good. I think getting my store moving and all the crud out has been good for my store. And so I'm looking forward honestly, just to ending out this year and going into the next year strong. I know we're a little ways away from that, but that's what
I know. It's like our final episode of Q4. No, we'll be back next week. I'm looking forward to, I'm going to put up my shelving finally. All my shelving from San Diego, I've never put up, and I'm slowly organizing my stuff. I did have some bad experiences this week. I didn't talk about it, but like I had this snow globe that sold for like $100. It was a plastic one. And when I got it out of the box, it was dented. And you know what? I probably messed that up at some point in time while I was in the garage. I probably should just put it on the shelf. So I'm going to be organizing my inventory. I know I've been talking about this forever, but I finally got motivated, especially because sales were kicking in. I'm like, I got to get more organized. I have a whole bunch of stuff I need to list. So I'm looking forward to that. And I'm just looking forward to Q4. And I may be going to garage sales here pretty soon. As long as it doesn't rain. It's supposed to rain this whole next week. So maybe not this week, but sometime soon. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for, tuning in, whether it's a Saturday or Monday or a Tuesday or the middle of the night on a Sunday. Hope you're killing it with sales out there. And with that being said, make sure to be real.
Be relevant.
And be reselling.
Peace.
From garage sales to thrift store aisles, we hunt for treasure, stacking them in piles. Hustling hard, making deals all day, flipping finds, turning profit our way. You hustle